The Brunei that few people know about. Hundreds of kilometers of pristine rainforest, virtually untouched by chainsaws. An exception in Southeast Asia.
In the case of Malaysia and Indonesia, forestry resource, of course, is a significant source of income, not just for the government, but also for the local community. Brunei, on the other hand, has been blessed. The oil and gas revenue have enabled us to undertake, I think, a more responsible, more sustainable approach to forestry management.
Oil provides more than 90% of the government's revenues and 96% of the country's exports.
It's generated the wealth from which ordinary Bruneians have profited mightily. I mean, this place is famous for being a low-tax environment with free education, free healthcare, almost a utopia, although I think we're also going to talk about where they go next.
And where Brunei goes next is an issue the government's currently grappling with. Oil reserves are expected to run out within 30 years. So Brunei is looking for alternatives to generate income. Potential lucrative options include aluminium smelters, fertilizer production and methanol plants, but all carry risks of environmental damage.
I think one of the first things that we would request for the company to do is actually to do an environmental impact assessment on what that project is going to bring to Brunei. Now, of course, if the environmental impact assessment is such that we feel that is going to be harmful to us, then the likelihood of us actually bringing that project on board is actually going to be, I would say, minimized, or we would simply reject it entirely.
Which means more eco-friendly initiatives could have to play a greater role. The government is considering container ports, telecommunications and ecotourism. I am standing about 400 meters above sea level on Brunei's famed forest canopy walkway. There are trees as far as the eye can see, and many of them hundreds of years old. This is why Borneo's rainforests have such a unique biodiversity. Over the past 10 years, about 400 new species of plants and animals have been discovered. Despite having one of the world's last few virgin rainforests covering about 70% of Brunei's landmass, generating substantial ecotourism revenues will be an uphill battle. Currently, tourism is only worth 1% of the country's GDP. The government's also just signed up to a conservation initiative where nearly 60% of Brunei's land area will be preserved as pristine forest. But Brunei is a country that's grown accustomed to relying on its natural resources. And as the sun sets on the oil industry, the country's main provider, resisting the temptation to exploit its lesser-known natural resource could be a challenge. Divya Gopalan, Al Jazeera, Brunei.